Hello, boys and girls. We're going to have some stories from Daniel's book today. Daniel was one of the captives that was taken away. King Nebuchadnezzar sent troops to attack Jerusalem soon after Jehoiachin became king of Judah. Nebuchadnezzar took Jehoiachin to Babylon, along with 10,000 others as captives. Daniel was one of these. One day the king ordered his highest palace official to choose some young men from the royal family of Judah and from other leading Jewish families. The king said, "They must be healthy, handsome, smart, wise, educated, and fit to serve in the royal palace. Teach them how to speak and write our language, and give them the same food and wine that I am served. Train them for 3 years, that they can become court officials." 4 of the young Jews chosen were Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, all from the tribe of Judah. But the king's chief official gave them Babylonian names: Belteshazzar, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Daniel asked the guard, "For the next 10 days, let us have only vegetables and water at mealtime. When the 10 days are up, compare how we look with the others and decide what to do with us." The guard agreed to do what Daniel had asked. 10 days later, Daniel and his friends looked healthier and better than the other young men. After this, the guard let them eat vegetables instead of the rich food and wine. God made the 4 young men smart and wise. At the end of the 3-year period set by King Nebuchadnezzar, his chief palace official brought all the young men to him. The king interviewed them and discovered that none of the others were as bright as Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. They were 10 times wiser. That's fantastic. King Nebuchadnezzar ordered a golden statue to be built. All must bow down and worship the statue that the King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Anyone who refuses will at once be thrown into the flaming, fiery furnace. Some Babylonians told the king, "Those Jews, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, refuse to worship the statue that you have set up." The king ordered the furnace to be heated 7 times hotter. If the young men obeyed the king, who said you must bow down and worship the statue, which of God's commandments would they have disobeyed? They would have disobeyed not to worship any god except me, or the second one as well. Do not make idols that look like anything in the sky or earth or in the ocean under the earth. Don't bow down and worship idols. The king commanded some of his strongest soldiers to tie up the men and throw them into the flaming furnace. God did not forget his faithful followers. The king said, "I see 4 men walking around in that fire. None of them are tied up or harmed, and the 4th one looks like the Son of God." Jesus saves his faithful people. Many years later, another king, Darius of Medes and Persians, divided his kingdom into 120 states and placed a governor in charge of each one. Darius put 3 other officials in charge of governors. One of these officials was Daniel. Daniel did his work so well, the king decided to let him govern the whole kingdom. The other 2 were jealous. The other men tried to find something wrong with the way Daniel did his work for the king, but they couldn't, because he was honest and faithful. They said, "We'll never be able to bring any charges against Daniel unless it has to do with his religion." They all went to the king and said, "Your Majesty, live forever. All of your officials agree that you should make a law forbidding anyone to pray to any god except you for the next 30 days. Everyone who disobeys this law must be thrown to the pit of lions. No written law of the Medes and Persians can be changed. So King Darius made the law. He thought it sounded pretty good. When Daniel heard about the law, he returned home. He went upstairs and prayed in the front of a window that faced Jerusalem, in the same way he had always done. He knelt down in prayer 3 times a day, giving thanks to God. The men who had spoken to the king watched Daniel and saw him praying to his God for help. The men told the king, "That Jew named Daniel refuses to obey you or the law that you ordered to be written. He must be thrown to the lions." The king tried to save Daniel, but the law could not be changed. So he ordered that he be thrown to the lions. Daniel prayed to God for help. God sent an angel to keep the lions from eating him. In the morning, the king came and asked, "Daniel, you were faithful and served your God. Was he able to save you from the lions?" And Daniel answered, "Your Majesty, I hope you live forever. My God knew that I was innocent, and he sent an angel to keep the lions from eating me. Your Majesty, I have never done anything to hurt you." The king gave orders for him to be taken out of the lion's pit. And the king ordered the men who had brought the charges against Daniel to be thrown into the pit. And before they reached the bottom, the lions had eaten them. God saves his faithful followers. He can save us too. God bless you, boys and girls.